Hey Austin, taking a look at your project. So I went through it already. I think your images are great. The text is easy to read. This one, make sure that you take this part off. This one's a little odd just because you've got this line and it sort of ends inside of the image. The image only takes like half of it. I would find a better way to do this particular slide, especially since the other ones are also very dynamic. And then here, there's no audio, there's nothing in the notes, so I'm not sure what this one's about. And then and I'm not quite sure what you're doing with this as well as far as like goals. So a couple things overall about the project. Oh, and just so you know, I posted a video in the announcements. You should have already seen. You should have gotten an announcement, like an email alerting you that an announcement was posted. And it's a video that talks about this particular project and issues students have while they're drafting. And I said that I would refer people back to it while I'm making their individual videos. So something about your particular project. Make sure you have, and if this is in there, an introduction and conclusion. So just like with the paper, you'd have an introductory paragraph introducing your paper, and you'd have a concluding paragraph concluding it, right? It's the same idea, it's just used in presentation form. So an introduction to conclusion. Also, what I'm not really seeing in your project, which is a lot of people are struggling with, is that argument that this is a marginalized population. Most people are just like giving information about it and how and why they are, why maybe people are in the situation they're in, information about this population, and then ways, ways that there are to help. But that piece about the argument that they are marginalized is missing in a lot of projects. So make sure that you have that and it's a solid argument. That is far more important. You can incorporate some of the information about like the population into that too if you want to. With the solutions section for this, you're giving like a lot of like housing and assistance and employment. I want to know what you can do. The purpose of the assignment was what can you do to help exhume this population. So you can't give out homeless like housing vouchers and a lot of these. This is not something that you can do. And so these are maybe solutions that are available, but how are you going to help exhume this population? Part of that is going to be like maybe how can you help them? How do you help to treat them like human beings? And that's really the big thing, right? If you think back on Warm Bodies, the whole point is that R becomes human again because he is treated like a human being. He is develops a relationship with somebody. He cares about something. All of the, right? And so then he gets assistance. They try to help him. Nora and Julie, and then you've got Julie's, how much she loves him and his relationship with Julie. How do you do that for the homeless, right? How do we exhume the homeless? How can you do that right now in the situation that you are in, whatever situation that might be? I think about it as you are a student here. What can you do? In the second, for the mentally ill, it needs to be very specific. When you, after you graduate and you are a professional in your field, so whether that's nursing, social work, healthcare management, how are you going to help this population, this very specific population? So how are you going to help the mentally ill? You do talk about stigmas of treatment. Well, you have this on here, so I'm assuming that's what you're going to be talking about. So maybe that this is how, part of the argument of how they're marginalized, and then how you're going to help. Again, this is some really basic, I don't know what you're saying, there's no audio, and this is just a list here. I want to know very specifically how you are going to help them, how you could help them in your position of power. I mean, when you, no matter which one of those fields you go into, you are going to have a specific power in that position to help people. And how are you going to use that for the better, right? So that's some things. I would get some more resources, do some more research, so you have more information, especially to create those two arguments. Okay, make sure you watch the video and the announcements. Take a look at the sample. If you have any questions, please get a hold of me, and I'll be happy to answer them.